Hello there, PMPBeta, InfiniteTrials here, bringing you my first ever upload to this channel, and yeah, it's pretty much just a standard UU match against this guy I found on the Smokin' server on Pokemon Online by the name of HelloMyNameIsKyle. So let me just get the team preview up right and going right about now. And yeah, so as you can clearly tell, we're both running some pretty standard material for UU. My team is kind of just based around building a lot of support for a Swords Dance Heracross to come in and late game sweep his team. And look at his, it looks like he just brought a bunch of random UU stuff that's pretty standard and works pretty well with each other. So yeah, but looking at it, the only really big threats I'm seeing right here are really just the Heracross and the Zapdos. The Heracross just because, like, if I do manage to lose my Chandelure or overpredict or do something foolish, it could potentially sweep through a lot of my team here. I mean, like, Blastoise can kind of buffer it, and so can kind of Bronzong, but I don't know. It's kind of a terrifying thing to deal with. And the reason why Zapdos is such a pain is because really the only things I can have that like can really kind of take it on are like the only thing I really have to take it on is like Bronzong. Really, I mean, I can Toxic it and get residual damage, but that's really it. I mean, like, I can play around it kind of well, and I can do some damage with Flygon, but if it's like defensive, actually no, even if it's not defensive, it can do a lot of damage to, it can take a hit pretty darn well. So I really got to be careful around that thing. Otherwise, nothing really scares me too much. I mean, the Roserade I can dispose of with Heracross and Chandelure, and even Flygon. The Blastoise, easily I can take down with Roserade, or I mean, there are a lot of things I can handle Blastoise with. I mean, it's not that big of a threat offensively. It just can be annoying with Rapid Spin. Victini, I've got Blastoise, Flygon, and Chandelure to take it on, so that's not big of a deal. And Flygon, I can take with both Blastoise and Bronzong and Heracross. Just got to watch out for the Fire Punch right there. But other than that, though, that's really it. I mean, yeah. So I'll just get the battle going as I crossfade out. So, yeah. Alright, so he's going to lead off as a Victini as I lead off with my Flygon right here. I'm just going to go for U-turn straight off the bat as he brings in his Blastoise to literally take any hit I decide to go for here. Thankfully, though, because I go for the U-turn, I'm just going to gain perfect switch initiative and bring in my Roserade right there because it's pretty much the only thing I have that can really do solid damage to this Blastoise. Now, what I'm going to do here on this turn, though, is predict him to go out and bring in something to take Grass-type moves, because he does have a lot of Grass resist, and he doesn't really have anything that resists Poison. So, yeah, I'm just going to go for the Sludge Bomb right here. However, he just decides to stay in. God knows why. I mean, that's kind of weird. I mean, he took a huge gamble there. But because he roared me out, he's just going to face me into my Bronzong, which actually isn't that bad. I mean, I can't really do that much damage to him, but I can slap him with a Toxic, and pretty much Toxic is really good on Bronzong. I mean, well, then again, Toxic's really good on anything. I mean, it's, in my opinion, one of the better moves in the game. Just get more residual damage here and there. It's very nice. But in any case, now he's going to bring in his Roserade because he doesn't really want Toxic. I'm assuming because he doesn't want Toxic damage rack up. I'm going to bring in my own Roserade here to try and see if I can finish the Blastoise off the Big Drain Belt because we both predicted at the same time. Brought in our own Roserades. We're kind of have a pickle here, and pretty much what we're just decided to do here for the both of us is just set up both our layers of spikes. Now, I'm noticing now that at this point, he does manage to outspeed me on every turn possible, so I'm assuming he's not really running as bulky of a spread as a typical spiking Roserade, which is kind of weird in my opinion, so I'm thinking maybe he's more of an offensive base Roserade? I don't know. But in any case, now that we've finished setting up each other's layer of spikes, he's going to go for the Toxic spikes, which is actually kind of strange, because you normally don't see that combination on a Roserade. Like, normally you just see it having spikes and like on one side, like, I don't know. But in any case, that does give me a clear implication that he does not have any form of reliable healing, so I can bring in Bronzong and just Gyro Ball it to death. And also, I can take the hit he decides to go for here, and if he does decide to switch out, I can just set up my Stealth Rocks on the switch, and that's exactly what I do here as he brings in his Blastoise. So, now I'm kind of in a bind, though, because what I could do here, I got a couple choices. I could bring in my Chandelure right here and absorb the obvious Rapid Spin, but the thing is, I don't want him to be poisoned, because really, I don't know, it would just be a bad thing. So instead, I'm just going to bring in my Roserade right here, absorb the Toxic Spike, unfortunately lose all the entry hits because I spent so much time setting up, but because I brought in Roserade, I can just scare him out into something else and just go for the lever spikes right there. But instead he just decides to stay in, I guess he just predicted me to just go for something that wouldn't be super effective and just phase me out. And he got pretty lucky right there, but he does manage to phase me out into my Chandelure here, and because I know for a fact that generally, a Chandeler's like spread of a Life Orb Subsplit set will normally outspeed any variation of a Blastoise, unless for happens to be like running some sort of weird like specs offensive set. I can kill it off there. However, unfortunately, while I may have been able to kill off the Blastoise, he's just going to bring in his Flygon right there, and I'm going to predict him to go for the U-turn. Unfortunately, that fails way in my favor. Because of my over-prediction, I managed to lose my Chandler as he just kills me off with the Earthquake. But in any case, now I'm going to bring in my Blastoise here. Sorry, getting a little caught up here. You attempt to scare him out, go for the Skull or something, but he's just going to bring in his Roserade right off the bat, and I'm just going to go for the Rapid Spin and blow away his spikes, because really, I don't want them Energy Hazards messing with my team here. I mean, granted, I do have two things that are immune to spikes in the forms of Bronzong and Flygon. However, I really need Heracross. I mean, like, I'd like to have Heracross and not be afflicted that much. But in any case, he's just going to go for the Toxic Spikes right there and then. And I'm going to go for the Fire Punch right here, just because I don't want to go mark myself an Outrage, even though it does do neutral damage. I don't want to risk that kind of stuff, and I really, in case like he does decide to, I don't know, I just didn't want to risk locking myself into Outrage, and I know for a fact that Fire Punch probably would have been able to take out the Roserade, and I don't know. I'm really confused though as to why he brought in his Heracross right there. I don't know, that's kind of weird in my opinion. You normally don't bring in a Heracross on a fly. Maybe he's predicting my Earth. I don't know. He's probably predicting my Earthquake or something. But in any case, now he brings in his Zapdos right here. And let me just tell you, Zapdos and this team do not get along well, may I mind you. I literally have nothing in the form of taking down that Zapdos. I mean, like, I can't try and I literally just gotta have my prediction pants on here. That's literally all I can do here. So pretty much what I'm gonna try and do here is bring in Roserade, take a couple hits here, try and see if I can rest off maybe and set up some spikes. I don't know. But in any case, because Roserade is down, I can at least bring in my Bronzong at this point and attempt to, literally what I gotta do here is, the only thing I can't do with this Zapdos is Toxic him. So thankfully though, he does miss his Heat Wave and I hit my Toxic, so that's very nice because now all I just gotta do is just pretty much, I just gotta predict all the moves he decides to go for here and just roll from there and hope to God that it's like eventually Toxic will just rack up so much that it'll just die to it. So he's gonna go for the Heat Wave here, do a little over half. Thankfully though, I am able to live it and I'm gonna set up my rocks right there, which is pretty cool, so I'm not gonna lie. But in any case, I'm gonna bring in my Flygon here, take a Heat Wave, risk the burn, which is a little foolish in my opinion. What I could have done here instead was bring this Blastoise. That way I could have taken the Heat Wave better. And then I could have predicted Thunderbolts, brought a Flygon, and then I could have brought in Bronzong here and predicted to go for the HBIs, and then just had Toxic Damage rocking out a bit more and more and more. But unfortunately, such is not the case right here. I just skip the whole Blastoise step and bring in Flygon. And yeah, so what's essentially going to happen here at this point is I'm going to bring in my Bronzong now, predicting kind of the obvious HP Ice. At this point, I'm thinking to myself, okay, he's probably going to eventually want to. I know for a fact that like I can't keep risking the predictions here, so I'm just going to leave Bronzong in to die and then be able to effectively bring in Flygon and Revenge Kill it, because at this point, now he's at the range where I know for a fact that any move I decide to go for, except for Earthquake or U-turn, literally if I go for an Outrage or a Fire Punch, I can kill him off. That's all you got to know here, which is perfect because I do manage to do that right there and then, so that's pretty nice. However, now he brings in, I believe, his Victini, and this Victini, well, it says kind of an issue, because I literally have no way, I literally have to sack something here, and unfortunately that thing does have to be my Heracross, because I'm thinking to myself at this point, okay, Heracross, albeit can take down the Roserade, but so can Flygon, and really I need Flygon and Blastoise more so than I need Heracross, so I just gotta sack him instead. Now what I'm gonna do here is bring in my Flygon here, scare him out with the potential Earthquake, and then switch into my Blastoise right here and there. Unfortunately though, he just goes for the obvious, he just predicts right there off the bat. I'm gonna get a U-turn. Unfortunately that does force me into bringing in my Blastoise right here. And because here's the thing. I need Blastoise to be able to take down the Flygon. I mean, like, I could potentially try and sweep the rest of this team with an Outrage here and there, but I don't want to risk that, because if he does manage to win the speed tie with the Flygon, because I have a feeling both of our Flygons are Choice Scarf, I don't want either of us to really be like, I don't want him to win the speed tie, I guess is all I'm trying to say here. And if he does, it's his game, but I don't know. But in any case, now I bring in my Flygon right here. I'm going to go for the Fire Punch. I think he would have been better off if he just brought in his own Flygon or Victini, but I don't know. To each their own, I guess. But in any case, now he's going to bring in his Flygon, and because I know for a fact that I don't want this thing taking an Outrage or a potential Outrage, I'm going to bring in my Blastoise right here and hope to God I can finish this thing off. And as you can tell, he's going to do roughly 32% to my Blastoise, so I'm taking those outrages pretty darn well, if I do say so myself. So all I gotta do is hope for a fact that I can finish this thing off with 2 Scalds from Blastoise, and maybe, if I'm lucky, I can get the potential burn. That would be pretty cool, but I just gotta hope to God I can take this next outrage and finish him off with a Torrent boosted Scald. And thankfully, though, I managed to do so, which is really nice. I lived with like the smidgenest of smidgens, as NBZ might say. Was a pretty cool guy, I must say. But in any case, that's off track. I'm gonna finish him off with the Scald right there, which is pretty cool, and that's essentially setting me up for my own game, really, because all he can really do to me now is have his Victini come in and go for like a V-Crate or Fusion Bolt. And either way, I resist both Fusion Bolt and V-Crate, and he does have Zen Headbutt, but because I know for a fact that his Flygon was definitely scarfed, I can just bring in my, his Flygon was definitely scarfed. I can just bring in my own Flygon and finish him off with the Earthquake, and that is essentially good game. Hello, my name is Kyle. So yeah, and that's pretty much it for the video. Yeah, it was a very, very close match, I must say. Very, very close, and yeah, but in any case, guys, if you enjoyed my content, you can always rate, comment, subscribe to both myself and the Pokemoshpit, because literally there are very good people who help a lot of people out here, so thank you very much again for having me on your channel, and yeah, this is pretty much Infinite Trials here saying peace out, yo, and have a good one.